My husband has been working himself into an early grave between his daytime job and his extra tutoring, and he's insistent that we need the extra money even though we make way more than enough for him to spend at least one day a week with his family. My husband and I have known each other for 6 years and been married for almost 3 years now. We have a 1-year-old, and we're expecting another baby. Our marriage has been full of emotional highs. We love each other and let the other know regularly. My husband has a 9-to-5 job at which he is also a tutor. He had started this back when we were in college, and it was never an issue. He always had enough time. Even in the years leading up to the marriage and the first year of our marriage, this was never a big issue. However, in the last year or so it's become a big issue, and it's getting worse. He keeps on adding more classes to his schedule. Until last month we had a red line that no classes on Sunday. He would devote that entire time to us. But last month he even added a class on Sunday on the excuse that exams are starting. It started to feel like me and my son weren't a priority to him anymore. Some days he comes home at 11. On other days he's doing it online, but that's not much better because he still can't give us any time. Last Sunday, I finally spoke out and told him he was neglecting his family. He was offended and told me that he doesn't enjoy having to work so hard, but he's doing it for our family. This is where I told him that no, I think he does enjoy it. It gives him an excuse to not spend time with us, and that he was doing this for himself, not for us. As things currently stand, our collective income is more than enough. There really was no need for him to add more classes on top of his existing ones. He's doing it for himself at this point. He's literally busy Monday to Saturday, and now he's trying to cross the red line we established for Sunday. We've been on bad terms since this fight. He keeps saying he can't believe that I said he works for himself, not for us. Am I a jerk here? Commenter, info, I see where you're coming from, but I gotta ask, you sound like you feel secure about your financial situation. But does he? You're expecting another kid. You have a 1-year-old with another on the way. I don't know where you're based, but certain regions are more expensive than others for families to live in. Based on just that information alone, there could be plenty of thought put behind whether or not you guys have the financial stability for the future. You clearly think so, but does your husband? Have you ever had that conversation with him, fruitfully, honestly, about the objective truth of your financial stability and his and your thoughts on it? OP, yes, we had that discussion before. We talked about how since we're already comfortable, there shouldn't be any need to have a class on Sunday. In fact, at the time, I also thought he should cut down on his existing classes but relented on the Sunday agreement. I didn't think the numbers were important, but a lot of comments, not you, seemed to doubt my judgment that we're stable. I'm an accountant who makes $70K/year. My husband is a software engineer who makes around over $100,000. And based on how many students he teaches and how many classes he has, he makes over $100,000 from that. Our household income covers our expenses. I'm an accountant, this is kind of my bread and butter. Update 1. Thank you for the feedback in the last post. The comments said that me asking him to adhere to the boundaries we established was reasonable. Some comments also suggested that I should not have implied that he works just to get away, so I was a little apologetic as well. After he came back, I decided to talk to him about this. The conversation was a bit of a train wreck. I brought up the fact that our income far exceeds our current and projected expenses. That me and our son were missing him, and needed him to spend more time with us, and I made sure to stress that I appreciated all that he did. It just seemed like we were on completely different wavelengths. He said he kept on taking more lessons and students because he wanted us to have a good standard of living, have better vacations, better schools, a second house. I was dumbfounded. I never knew he felt that way. I stress our current standard of living was great, we make enough money, and that if he thinks that way there's no end in sight. What if he decided we should also have a third house or something? Right now I needed him with me. At this point, I kind of lost control and started crying. I didn't mean to. It wasn't something I wanted to do to pressure him or anything, just the fact that we were at an impasse was wrecking me. I told him I'd been feeling unhappy, that I kept compromising, and he reneged on it. After some more crying and consoling, my husband agreed that Sunday should have remained off limits. He gently asked me to give him a pass for one more Sunday, because his students' exams end next week and he would make Sunday untouchable the following semester onwards. He also promised to try to resize his classes in order to be able to come back home for dinner even if it's late dinner. He asked for time to do all this. I've given it to him and I know he loves us enough to do what he promised. Thanks for the feedback to the original post. Commenter, did he explain why he had these feelings of needing more? Is it because the new baby is coming and this is like some weird financial nesting? Or did this start well before you were pregnant? OP, that's kind of where we weren't getting through to each other. He kept saying that he wants our family to have a good lifestyle, while I kept saying that we're already in a place where we aren't lacking anything except him in the house. He finally understood that that's what our son and I need from him right now. I know I had told him last week that I think he does this just to be away from us, which I feel shitty about, but it's just that his tutoring hit critical mass close to when our son was born. I know the number of students and classes had been increasing steadily over the years, and maybe we should have set boundaries from the start, but it's gotten too much now. Commenter 2. Up. You did a good job and took an important first step. I think it would be unrealistic for him to do a complete 180 after this conversation, and this is a necessary stepping stone. I'm usually very negative about relationships, but it disheartened me to see all the top comments being so negative when you took the time to update us and you didn't need to. I hope things continue to improve for you. Update 2. 1 year later. Over a year ago I had asked for feedback from Reddit over my husband's work schedule. Since then things have gotten much better. Many people have been very kind to ask me if things are better. I had posted about the current state of things a month ago but deleted it because the first few comments and PMs were pessimistic and I had anticipated a more optimistic response. But I'm more secure in where we are now and just decided to post the final update here. Around a year ago I had been having issues with my husband regarding his tutoring schedule and had come here to know if I was in the wrong. A few people had asked me to let them know if things improve or continue to deteriorate. We're in a better place now. We've been blessed with a daughter now too. He has become better at handling his workload and tutors primarily online now. I know I had said at the time that that's not much better, but it really is. Sundays have become sacrosanct again with very rare exceptions that he asks my approval for in advance, and Wednesdays are free now too. He does more group tutoring now and so gets done by 8:30 most days too. He also got a new day job which is entirely WFH, which has made things much better because he isn't so burnt out anymore. In the weeks following up to my daughter's arrival, he'd been by my side especially since she arrived during the summer when school is out. I also took some advice from here and hired help to ease the burden, which has worked out really well. I've also learned to embrace the fact that his tutoring gives him joy, which maybe his software development job doesn't. He seems to be proud when his students get into good universities, and that it results in even more students. He still claims to do it for purely financial reasons, but I know that can't be completely true, because our financial needs really do not require it. So it must be something he enjoys. So I've become more understanding on that front too. I have had to put my foot down a few times though, especially in the initial days following our conversation, to make sure he understands that I was serious about needing his presence more. I had also confided in his older sister about this issue, which he was not happy about at the time and was probably an accidental move on my end, but it helped. They had an argument. She straight up told him he was either going to end up working his way into an early grave at the age of 30 or ending up divorced, which helped. Full disclosure, the only time we ever really argue is still about this when I want him to be free but he won't be. But it's rare, and overall we've come up with a good balance that seems to be working for us. Thank you. Update 3. 8 months later, my husband and I have been married for over 4 years. Our son is 3 and our daughter is 16 months old. My husband has a busy schedule, due to both his day job and his business after that, and on Saturdays, and sometimes, if I'm okay with it, Sundays. We had planned to go to Spain at the end of December for a couple of weeks. We've bought tickets, booked a hotel, talked about how we'll spend our 2 weeks there. Last weekend he asked if we could postpone our trip to the end of June. A literal 6 months after we're supposed to go. I said no, it was so unfair that he was pulling this at the last minute. He asked me to understand that his business required him to suddenly change his plans, that it was important, that had been looking forward to this downtime as much as I had. To provide more context, this isn't the first time this has been an issue. His business hours had been an issue over the past 2 to 3 years. He'd made changes and organized his hours better, and his job had become WFH too, so we had struck a balance that I could be okay with. But his business hours again started infringing on our family time, and he'd been promoted to a managerial role at his day job, so he was now going into work on some days too. I told him I'd been looking forward to this for so long, counting days till our vacation. I told him I'll be going regardless whether he wants to come or not, and if he doesn't want to come we can get a refund and my best friend can go in his place. Admittedly, I was just lashing out. I have no idea of the logistics of it. Yesterday I asked him again what his plan was. He tried to show me messages from his clients to show how busy he was during that period. I told him I don't care. He gave me his word. According to him, I'm being unreasonable. I wanted to know if I'm a jerk here. Also, I don't even know if it's logistically feasible and I don't want it to come to it, but would I be the jerk if I actually went on vacation and took my best friend along? Commenter: he needs to either set the boundary with his clients that he won't be available those 2 weeks, or do the work remotely from Spain. His business is tutoring students. If he lets them know now, he can plan what he's tutoring them on to get them ready for exams before he goes away. Definitely hold your ground on this. From your previous posts, he has a real issue with overworking and not prioritizing family. It's like he feels like he's failing if he relaxes, and that's not good for his health long term or his marriage. OP, thanks. I agree, and maybe that's the compromise I can go with. That he can do it online from there. It's not ideal. I'm not wild about him doing his classes while we're on vacation, but at least we'll be together. I'll think about it. Also, I just realized my profile was available for people to see my previous posts. It sounds wrong, but I was trying to keep the business vague rather than mention that it's his tutoring business, because when that gets mentioned, everyone becomes a lot more sympathetic about the work. But it's not a charity he's running, it's his business. Update 4 days later. Hi, thanks a lot for the feedback on my first post. I had decided to suggest he do his tutoring classes online while we were in Spain as a compromise, and that's what I was planning on doing. My husband caught a cold on Thursday though and had been really down and out the last couple of days. He had taken these 2 days off work from his day job. Despite my insistence that he rest, he tried to do his tutoring classes scheduled but literally couldn't get through it and canceled those as well. I didn't want to have the conversation while he was this sick, so I postponed it. It was great, maybe not the best choice of words as a wife talking about my husband getting sick lol, to kind of just have him do nothing for these 2 days. He spent time with me and the kids. A few of his friends and some mutual friends of ours also came to our place to see him because they rarely see him outside of important occasions. Last night I brought up the vacation again. He agreed without too much resistance. He said he'll move around some classes or take them in advance, but either way he'll be with us for the vacation. I thanked him and also told him he needs to take it easy, it's clearly affecting his health. He was like, him being sick isn't because of the work, it's because of the change in weather. I did bring up that we had an agreement earlier and that he kept to it for a while and we'd really struck a good balance, but things are back to the way they were prior to that. He said he always asked me before filling up Sundays, and that is true, it's just, there's only so many times I can say no. He also mentioned how 2 people he knows have recently been laid off, that times are bad economically. I told him I don't see why that has to affect him. We're doing well financially, we have more than enough savings, our careers are good, he has a business that has been growing every year, we're secure where we are. He said he was too sick to talk about this, and that right now our kids are young, they need less of him, that his classes are important because students and parents come to him after having heard of him, and that it's important for them to get into good universities. I told him our son is old enough that he now wants to spend time with him, and that I can compromise on my needs and wants but not our kids. He got the point I was trying to make and said that he'll make the necessary changes. I'm glad our vacation is back on track. I'd really been looking forward to this as a family. Also, I'm glad I told him how he'd been reneging on the balance we'd established earlier and he'll be going back to it. He did do it last time, so I'm confident he'll do it again. We both just have to work to make sure we keep it in place. Thanks a lot. Commenter: by the time he is ready to be a dad, his kids won't know who he is beyond the name, and as a result they won't want him around because they won't have a bond or anything in common. You need to have your New Year's resolution be that if he goes back to his old ways of prioritizing everyone and everything above you and the kids, that you will walk away and consult a divorce lawyer. You might find it easier and less stressful to be a real single mom than a married single mom. It's better for the kids to be in a happy single parent home than in a 2-parent home where one parent resents the absent parent.